Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good Wednesday and welcome to this educational presentation. Now, today I'd like to talk to you about consistent trades that last less than 2 weeks. Now, the reason why we're covering this is because we see that the market volatility has changed. As you noticed in the last week or so, the market has really started some steep declines. And so it's difficult now to hold on to those positions that you used to have in the summer where you just buy something and hold on to it months and just see it go higher and higher. You don't want to give away the profit and the gain you have, so you may have to switch according to the environment of the market into a smaller holding period. So it'll last anywhere from a week or two. Now, most people think that they can adjust their methods rather easily and that it works okay just regarding whatever market you're trading, just as long as you kind of just use the same rules and use the same concepts, and it'll change accordingly. Well, the only thing wrong with that is this. Let's look at this example right now in DOCU. Let's say you were interested in this, and this is just 2 or 3 weeks ago where this example took place. But let's say it was the middle of summer when the market just continuously went up higher and higher, all the way from April all the way up until just August. We were steadily going higher and higher. So in those instances, you could wait for the market to go up like this. And just when you had confirmation that that's when you should buy, you jump in and buy, and weeks later you'd have a profit. The only trouble is the environment will change. So let's say you did buy here now in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Well, this is what happens. So you see, it's difficult to hold on to those positions when the environment changes. You have to be quick and able to adjust to the markets. Now, with what I'm going to be talking about to you today, this method that I'm going to be sharing with you actually would not have bought here at all. In fact, 4 days prior to when most people would have been buying, it would have generated a buy signal. And on the very same day that most people would have been buying on that breakout, it actually would have generated an exit signal, and you could have potentially captured 54 points in 4 days. So this is where it pays off to be quick and nimble, to be in and out of trades in roughly less than 2 weeks or just about that same time period. Now, the beauty of all this is that it's easily taught to you how to trade this way on our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform. This is the educational platform that actually teaches you how to trade during these volatile markets. So this promises to be a great educational presentation. I want to thank you again for attending. My name is Stephen Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading for 43 years now. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was a specialist on the floor for 9 years. I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. So that's where we get the name Specialist Trading. Now, specialist doesn't mean that you're any more special than anyone else. It just means that you specialized in making markets. I did that for about 9 years. Once again, I traded and made markets in the crash of 1987 and the bull market that followed. So any type of system, any type of trading strategy, any type of market environment, trust me, I've already traded through it. So I know what works in terms of consistency and I know what doesn't. So that's the service we provide at Specialist Trading along with my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies. Our goal is simply to educate you so that you can ultimately make your own trading decisions. And you'll see that attention to detail we give in trying to educate you in today's presentation. Now, before we begin, we are required first by law to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this particular method, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, please remember that all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, if you're looking for some more education on a day-to-day basis, you don't have to go to a webinar. It's as easy as just following us on Twitter. There's our handle right there, at Specialist Trading, the abbreviation for. You may want to copy that down because I post different information on a daily basis, anywhere from signals that our strategies have generated to little bits of financial wisdom. So there's lots of great free education. Once again, since we are first and foremost an educational company, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now remember, as we just stated, we are first and foremost all about educating you. In fact, that's our only purpose, to educate you. And someone would say, well, why don't you just give us the signals? Why don't you just tell us what to buy or sell? What's wrong with that? Why do you have to educate us? Well, if you think about it, that's the way the entire industry is based on. You go into a chat room, buying some system that automatically spits out buy and sell signals, or listening to some guy on TV telling you what he thinks you should buy or what you should sell, or going on the internet. That's the way most traders make their decisions, myself included. When I first started trading 43 years ago, I did the same thing. Okay, we didn't have chat rooms or the internet then. This was in the 70s, but we had newsletters. We still had jobless claims that we waited to see what all the reports were, all the earnings were. So most traders were all taught to have someone or something tell us what to do. That's our decision-making process. Unfortunately, that couldn't be any further from the truth, because if most traders follow that method, then why is it estimated that 85% of all traders fail? It's because that really doesn't work. You see, what really works is when you make your own trading decisions, when you are in charge of your own trading destiny. The only trouble is most people don't know how to make their own decisions. They say, well, Steve, I'm not educated like you. I didn't go to business school. Well, I didn't either. Or they say, well, Steve, I haven't been trading as long as you, so I really don't, know much about the markets. Well, trust me, when I first started trading, I didn't know anything about the markets either. Or they'll say, well, I just don't have enough confidence to pull the trigger. And basically, most people don't have confidence because they haven't been educated. They've been blindly following someone or something else. Once you educate yourself, once you follow something that has worked and stood the test of time, then you have that confidence to pull the trigger and make your own decisions. And the beauty is you'll never have to follow anyone else again. You'll never have to blame anyone else again for your losses because you're in charge of your own destiny. You're responsible for all your decisions. Remember, we never tell our students what to buy or what to sell. We never tell them what we think the market's going to do. That goes entirely against our philosophy. What we do is we teach them sound fundamental education, things that have stood the test of time, that still continue to work to this day. And then we work with you so that you can ultimately make your own decisions. Once you get on that path, then you'll start to see that consistency that you've been searching for. So, as you can see, once again, since we are an educational company, my goal is not to force feed you signals, tell you what I think the market's going to do, or even tell you what the perfect time frame is. My goal is to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge, the same edge that was taught to me some 4 decades ago and what has sustained me, and hopefully what will be able to sustain you as well. Now, ask me as many questions as you'd like during this presentation, but please ask them at the end, okay? I don't want to stop here for every slide. We'll be here far too long. I know you want to get back to the markets, and I know you want to research what I'm going to be teaching you today. So please, if you have a question, please, wait till the end. I promise I'll get to each and every one of them. The most common question I get, I'll answer right now, and that is this being recorded? Yes, it is. So if you have to leave early, or if you have any technical issues, don't worry. We will send each and every one of you a link to this recording, okay? So we have a good crowd here today. Please remember to wait till the end of today's class. All right, with that said, let us begin today's presentation. And I'd like to start out by sharing you what my mentors first taught me, because once again, when I started out roughly 43 years ago, I was doing the same thing most traders were doing, okay? I was listening to all the earnings reports. I was waiting for the jobless claims. I was watching the guys on TV. I had tons of newsletters, had maybe 20 or 30 indicators plotted on my screen. And I was doing all the things I'd been taught, right? Same things you're probably taught as well today. And why was nothing working? Why couldn't I get out of my own way? I was just basically treading water at best. I wanted to be a successful trader. And here's what my mentors taught me, okay? I'm going to teach you the same things. Successful trading should be non-subjective. So what does that mean? That means 2 traders looking at the exact same chart of whatever market, I don't care if it's stocks, doesn't matter if it's futures, Bitcoin, currency pairs, they should come up with the same analysis. Unfortunately, it's the opposite when you talk to most traders, right? One trader will look at something and say, oh, well, that's obviously topping out. It's too overbought, so you have to sell that. And someone would say, oh, no, there's support right here. You've got to buy that. Or someone else would say, oh, no, well, I think you got to sell it because that's a shooting star formation and you really got to get out of that. Or someone would say, no, the institutions are all big buyers here according to that $10,000 class I took. That's where all the institutions are buying, so you want to be a buyer here. You see how everything I'm basing my decision off of is based off of what someone else or some indicator or something is telling me what I should do. When you're non-subjective, you're only listening to the chart in front of you because it tells you just about everything you need to know. Secondly, successful trading should be consistent. So what do we mean by consistent? Consistency is a 2-step forward, 1-step back approach. We're not looking to hit home runs. Even though they may occur every once in a while, we're looking for is to pick up those golden nuggets, okay? We want to have a 2-step forward, 1-step back approach, meaning the 1 step back is an awareness that we will have losses from time to time. That's perfectly okay. but you want a method that's consistent enough to recoup those losses. Consistency is what will sustain you. I have been consistent since my mentors taught me these things. And so that what that means is that I'm aware I will have losses from time to time, okay? But that's okay because I have confidence to pull the trigger because I know my method is able to recoup those losses, oftentimes on the very next signal. Now, successful trading should also be as simple as possible. Now, here's the best way to check that out. Next time you go to a webinar or next time you buy that $5,000 course, ask yourself, do you really understand what the heck is going on? I can't tell you how many times I purchased a new method or took a class and spent thousands of dollars 40 years ago when I was struggling, and I knew 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the course, I had no idea what they were talking about, okay? It was so complicated, so convoluted. There was no way I was going to fully understand this. And so that's usually how traders trade when they haven't been trading a long time, because for some reason we're taught the more complicated something is, the more rules, the more convoluted indicators we're using, well, that'll make it more valid. That'll make it more profitable. But if there's one thing I've learned in my 4 decades of trading is that it's actually the opposite. It is the very simple things that work the best. For example, next time you go to a webinar, listen to somebody who's been trading for a short time, relatively 5 to 10 years. That's a short time. Look how complicated their methods are. And then listen to someone who's been trading for 30, 40, 50 years. Look how simple their methods are. That's why they're still trading, because they have learned how to block out what my mentors called useless noise and just focus on the simplest of things. And then lastly, successful trading should make you a part of the process. I always use this analogy, and I'm sorry for the people who aren't familiar with football, but in football, there's something called an audible. That means when the quarterback goes up to the line after they've called the play, he'll go up to the line of scrimmage and see that all of a sudden the defense has shifted. They've changed, all right? It's not the same as when they thought the play was going to take place. So what he does is he calls an audible, meaning that a certain signal to all the players on his team that we've shifted just a little bit. We're altering our plan here. We're altering the play because the defense has shifted. It's no different with trading, right? You can have a plan that works great as long as the environment is perfect for that trading strategy. But what happens when the environment changes the way it has this past month, when all of a sudden we started to have some heavy selling? What happens? Nothing works the way it did anymore, right? And you're saying to yourself, how come this isn't working as good as it did? How come I'm not making the profits? How come I'm losing a lot more? It's because you haven't shifted. You haven't become a part of the process. You're still just relying on this system or this strategy that is very rigid, that doesn't change and doesn't really change and be flexible with the markets. You have to be flexible. And the only way you can do that is by being a part of the process. You can't just rely on the rules and just say, well, they're never going to change. You have to be able to change with them. The only way you can do this is by being a part of the process. So that's why we don't have automated order entry at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. That's why we don't teach systems that come with statistics, that come with win-loss ratios, that come with percentage of wins, because that would call for everyone to trade the exact same way every time. And that goes against what we preach. What we want is every trader to trade differently. In my 43 years of trading, that's the only way you can become a consistent trader, by becoming a part of the process. This means that no 2 traders should ever trade alike. Okay, this brings us to what I'm going to be talking about today, strategy number 8. This is a great method. I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of slides in just a few moments, but first of all, let's talk about some of the highlights of this particular method. We call it our stock-only strategy. Now, please, when I say stock-only strategy, sure, we have students that trade it with Bitcoin. We also have students that trade it with currency pairs, but since I've been trading this personally myself and been tracking it just on site value, it appears to me that the best results come from stocks. So I would suggest really only using this on stocks. You just, in my experience, don't get the same type of results using it on other markets, okay? Now, it's an indicator-based method. It only actually uses 2 indicators and their relationship to one another as well as price. One of the indicators I'll share with you. It's a 50-period moving average, okay? And the way we use that is if price is above the 50, we'll only be buyers. If price is below the 50, we're only going to be sellers. So strategy number 8 will never generate a sell signal if price is above the 50. And it'll never generate a buy signal if price is below the 50, okay? That's just one of the rules right there, which I just shared with you. Now, it often shows the capability to catch quick moves. So this makes it perfect as a side strategy to have in this volatile markets if you want to just trade these quick moves in and out. Now, because you're trading these quick moves, it makes it ideal for option time. If you're an option trader and you like to, trade the options and don't want to be in for a long time because you don't want to pay heavily the price for all the premium and everything, this is a great strategy for you as well to trade on stocks and ETFs. Now, this works best in daily bars and higher time frames. So once again, another suggestion, I really wouldn't rely on using this anything lower than an hourly chart, okay? It seems to get the best results, in my opinion only. Remember, we don't backtest or research or come up with statistics at specialist trading because we don't believe in them. Trust me, I've traded so many strategies and systems with statistics that had phenomenal numbers going back 10, 20 years, and then when the market changed, they all blew up. And everything went out the window and it lost all its money. So we don't believe in statistics, but we believe in what we see and what our students tell us, and the best time frame for this is daily and higher time frames, okay? Now, you can apply this to any direction. So as we see lately, the market has shifted and gone lower. So strategy number 8 will generate some really nice sell signals as well. Lastly, if you decide to become a student of mine in the strategy number 8 course, please, it is required, not suggested, but required that all students paper trade first. Remember, we are just in our courses sharing and teaching with you high probability areas for entry. How you decide to enter, whether it's through the option, whether it's through actually purchasing or shorting the stock, whether it's through buying a spread, is entirely up to you. And that's up to you to decide. We do not teach which options to buy. We do not have an instructional course on spreads and what's the best spread or a market to be in. That's up to you to decide. That's why the way you decide this is through paper trading. And lastly, our edge here is consistency. Once again, consistency does not mean, well, gosh, that means that this thing never loses, right? No, consistency is an awareness of losses, but knowing that you will be able to recoup those losses. Remember, consistency is simply a 2-step forward, 1-step back approach. The 1 step back being losses from time to time. Okay, so let's look at an exit technique because remember, we want to be able to exit in and out of these quickly. And the way we do that is by using one of the exit techniques that we teach you in the course. Remember, in our course, we basically just provide you with the information. Now, the information is the high probability area for a setup. Next thing we do is share with you roughly 6 or 7 ways to enter. Then we share with you 6 or 7 stop placements. And then lastly, 6 or 7 different exit points. It's up to you to decide through this smorgasbord which one best meets your needs. Remember, everyone is different. Some traders like to stay in as long as possible. Other traders like as least risk as possible. There's nothing wrong with either one of those. What's wrong is when you just buy a system for $10,000 and just blindly follow the rules. And all of a sudden you see that you're taking on way too much risk and you can't sleep at night. But you say, well, I got to follow these rules because that's part of the system. We don't believe in that. We want you to feel comfortable and to trade according to your own means. That's why we provide you with all these different techniques for entry, stop placement, and exit. I'm sharing with you one of these techniques which will help you get in and out of these trades rather quickly. So this is for the type of trader who doesn't want to stay in the trade weeks or months. He just wants to get in and out as quickly as possible. Here's the technique, which once again is one of our rules, but I'll share it with you today. What you want to do, firstly, is apply the Stochastic Oscillator on the PTS Primo charting platform. I'll show you how to do that. Next, if you're long, if the strategy generated a buy signal, you'll exit when with the trade when the oscillator closes above the 80 threshold. Now, let's say you have a sell signal and you're short. Well, you'll exit the trade when the oscillator closes below the 20 threshold. It's that simple. Let me share with you some strategy number 8 setups, and I'll also share with you using this exit technique with the stochastic, okay? You can start using this technique today if you'd like, but just please paper trade it first for the exit. Remember, all this can easily be one click away on our PTS Primo charting platform. This is the educational platform that identifies 2-week trade setups or even shorter. Okay, so let's go through the trading process really simply and show you how easy it is to apply on our platform. First thing you want to do, we look at a chart, right? All right, so you're looking at RDY. And one thing I want to mention too, I know I still attend presentations by so-called traders, and a lot of them I'll see they have the perfect system, the perfect indicator, and the perfect method, or that never fails, it hasn't lost in 20 years. And then I'll go back and look at some of their examples, and some of these examples are 6 or 10 months old, maybe even over a year. And I'll say, well, how is anyone supposed to have confidence in something that happened a year ago? I want to see how it's happening now. So all these examples you'll see happen within the last 2 or 3 weeks, okay? All right, so looking at RDY, let's say that you think you've studied the course, you're a member of my course, Strategy Number 8, you're a student of mine, and you say, okay, through the online courses, I've learned how to properly identify a setup. Now, the way to check your work on our platform only, because you can't have me sitting right there next to you to make sure, is to click on Strategy Number 8 in the green Strategy tab, right? It's right up here at the top. You'll see a drop-down menu just to check your work. Now, you want to click on signal arrows because that'll identify where the valid signal is. And if it's on the same bar that you saw, guess what? You're learning how to properly, validly identify a setup. And that's what we want. That's our goal. Remember, our goal is that you never have to rely on anyone or anything else. You don't have to spend your hard-earned time or money. You can identify a setup on your own. Okay, so there's a buy signal right here. All right, now you've decided where you want to place your stop. And remember, we can't share all the rules with you. We can't share them all. So let's just say you assume where you want to place your stop. But you want to get in and out of this trade quickly because you notice that the environment has changed. Remember, it's like you're calling an audible at the scrimmage line. You've seen that the environment of the market has changed. It's much more volatile. You're long, and you don't want to hold on to a position and see all your profits whittle away. So you use this particular exit level. On our platform, click on the indicator icon. In the drop-down menu of the indicators, just scroll down to Stochastic Oscillator. That's it. Click on Stochastic Oscillator, and it appears at the bottom of the screen. Here is the 80 threshold right here. Here is the 20 threshold, this pink line at the bottom, and this is the oscillator. Okay, so all you're going to do is hold on to this, and if you didn't get stopped out at your stop level, you're going to exit on the first time that this oscillator closes above 80. So the first 3 days, nothing happens. You have a small loss, but that's okay. You're still in the trade. You haven't been stopped out. 3 days later, you exit with a quick 6-point gain. Not a bad little trade, right? That's how simple trading can be, getting in and out of the market rather quickly. Here's another example. This was in Nike. This was on the 8th of September, a couple of weeks ago, okay? A buy signal was generated. You have the oscillator right here. In 5 days, you made 6 more points. Not a bad little trade once again. And it's a good thing you got out because look what happened in the market after that. This is what we mean by getting in and out of these quick little trades. Let's look at NEU. Now, this is a sell signal. Nothing changes just because you're going the opposite direction. Let's say you placed your stop, you're short, you have a protective stop in there, and you apply the oscillator. Now, what we're looking for is once this oscillator, this green, or I should say blue line, closes below the 20 threshold, that's your point of exit. That's where you cover, or that's where you sell your put, whatever. Well, in 10 days, you made 15 points. Not a bad little trade, right? 2 weeks, you made 15 points. You could have had some nice puts there. You could have actually been short the stock. It's entirely up to you. Here's an example in McDonald's, okay? You went long here. You have the oscillator below. And in 5 days, 9 points. And you see how we kind of topped out right there. This is the beauty of using this quick in and out way of exiting. It's just a standard oscillator. Once we close at above the 80 threshold, we're out. If we're short, once we close below the 20 threshold, we're out. You can apply this with any strategy, but it works extremely well with strategy number 8. All right, we have a sell signal in Boeing. So what does that mean? That means that we are below the 50-period moving average. Even though you don't see it, that's one of the rules here. We are below the 50-period moving average. We have a sell signal in Boeing. This was on the 26th of August coming into September. Here's our oscillator. In 8 days, we made 11 points. Do you see how the oscillator just kind of went sideways, started to head lower right here on the 8th, a couple of weeks ago. It closed. We have a nice little 11 points in less than 2 weeks. Here's an example in UNP, all right? Here's a buy signal, all right? That means we are above the 50-period moving average. So we plot the oscillator. We were currently below the threshold, the 20, but that doesn't interest us. We're just interested in if it and when it closes above the 80. In 4 days, we made a quick 10 points in Union Pacific. All right. You see, once again, I always say this to students, trading is really simple. It's the trader that makes it more complicated than it has to be. How many, webinars have you gone to where the guy is trying to explain something and you're saying, okay, well, I have to have this oscillator. I have to see what the moving averages are doing, when they cross. Then I have to see what the volume is. And here's where the institutions are. There are just so many rules and regulations you have to follow. This is just simple. All right. All we want to do is just wait for this to close above. If it doesn't, obviously we get stopped out with a minor loss. As we look at Penn, okay, we had a cluster of buy signals here, but nothing has happened. That's okay. As long as you're not stopped out, it's okay to still stay in the trade if you want to. We're just waiting for this blue line to close above the 80 threshold. And in 5 days, we have a quick 10-point gain, all right? This is all based on just the strategy and the exit technique. Remember, we're not looking at news. News and fundamental information is not a requirement in any of our strategies. I stopped looking at news 4 decades ago. I'm still here trading, so I'm living proof that you don't need to look at news. You don't need to look at earnings. You don't need to see what the company's doing. Everything is in the price. Now, having said that, if you can't cut the umbilical cord and you feel that you must, then that's fine. Remember, our goal is just to teach you as a trader what works. Our goal is not to tell you not to trade a certain way. If you really feel you must look at earnings, you must look at unemployment numbers, that's fine. I'm just here to tell you that it is in no way required, and I'm living proof that you don't even need to focus on that. Remember, keep your trading simple. The easiest way I know to simplify your trading is to stop looking and listening to news. Here's an example in SWKS, okay, Skyworks. Looks as if the stock is absolutely doing nothing, right? In fact, someone could say, well, Steve, you have a bearish engulfing pattern. That's rather negative, right? Remember, if the signal is generating a buy, we're not interested in whatever the so-called conventional wisdom is telling us. We're just going to go along with it because we know we have the time-tested validity of this strategy working. All we want to do is say, listen, we want this to close above the 80 threshold. We have a stop, let's say our stop is somewhere down here. If we don't get stopped out, that's fine. Just stay in the trade. And in 3 days, we made a quick 10 points. Some traders will say, gosh, well, Steve, I really thought this thing was going higher. Well, listen, we have other exit techniques where you can stay in longer. But if you want to get in and out quickly in volatile markets, sometimes it's best to use this, as you see what just happened after we got out. Looking at that now, wouldn't you have loved to have been out once the stochastic oscillator crossed above the 80 threshold? All right, STSA, we have a sell signal. Someone would say, but the stock is doing absolutely nothing. In fact, it looks like this is good support. Well, we're below the 50-period moving average. Strategy number 8 generated a sell signal. You have the option whether to take it or not. Remember, this is not a system where everyone has to take the trade so we can get the statistics. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. But the strategy generated a sell signal right here as we're following the oscillator. In 4 days, 18 points to the downside. As we look at TMO, we have a buy signal. We're very close to, we're going in the right direction at least, to the 80 threshold. And in 3 days, we made a quick 9 points. Now, after we got out, look what happened right after that. Stock went straight down. Okay, so we're happy that we made a quick 9 points. Maybe we had the calls. Maybe we actually bought the stocks. But then look what happens a couple of days later. We get another buy signal. So time to get back in. We get back in, and this time in 4 days, we made 14 points. So that's the beauty of strategy number 8. Even when you get out of this quick trade, it'll generate another strategy signal for you to get a second chance to get in. That was in TMO. Let's look at REGM. Sell signal was generated at the end of August coming into September, about 3 weeks ago. In 6 days, you could have made 38 points to the downside, okay? All you're doing is waiting for this blue oscillator to close below the 20 threshold. That happened on the 8th, just a couple of weeks ago. Another example in ILMN, okay, aluminum. Yeah, we have a sell signal right here. We're below the 50-period moving average, even though it's not displayed. And in 12 days, we made 52 points, potentially. It's up to you. It's if you had used this technique. We're not guaranteeing that everyone would have made 52 points. In fact, I'm sure some students said, listen, I've got a 30-point gain. I think I'm going to take that profit. That's okay. This is not a system. You're in charge, so if you want to get out with a 5-point gain, that's totally up to you. That's okay. We're just sharing with you things that have worked and giving you choices. You see, that's the thing with specialist trading. What we do is we give you choices. With other, systems, they say you have to trade this way every time. Or you go to a chat room, it says you have to buy here, you have to sell here. We don't believe in that. You have to make your own decision. And our beauty of what we've done with Pro Trader Strategies and Specialist Trading with our platform is that we give you tons of choices to help you make your own decisions. Now let's look at some higher time frames. Remember, strategy number 8 gets the best results in my opinion in stocks only. Okay. Now it works best in higher time frames from daily bars and higher, in my opinion. So let's look at a weekly chart of GD, of General Dynamics. Okay, here was a sell signal generated in the end of August. In the next 5 weeks coming into this week, you could have made a quick 12 points. Okay, 5 bars basically. Here's another weekly chart in Amgen. All right, this was coming into June. A buy signal was generated in 7 bars or 7 weeks. 28 points potentially could have made. Look at that exit right there, and then it starts to go lower. We can even go higher. Let's look at a monthly time frame for investors, okay? This was a sell signal generated in LABD, all right? In 2 months, you potentially could have made 160 points just in 2 bars, 2 monthly bars, okay? So that's why I say I have seen through my own experience that this method works the best in stocks, and it works the best in terms of results in daily bars and higher. But please experiment with it. Once again, I said we have students that trade it for currency pairs, but I don't see the same type of results because of the noise when you go down in smaller time frames. All right, so let's go through the trading process one last time just to show you how simple this is, all right? All right, so we're looking at that first chart we looked at in DOCU, DocuSign. Once again, you're saying to yourself, well, okay, I'm going to use this strategy, and you think you have found a buy signal, because we teach you what to look for in the course. So you want to check your work. First thing you do is click on strategy number 8 in the upper green strategy tab. This is where all our techniques, all of our strategies, all of our methods are. Click this on, you'll see a drop-down menu, and click on signal arrows. These are educational signal arrows there simply for you to check your work. We don't want you to rely on them, so you say to yourself, well, I really don't know what strategy number 8 is based off of, but I'll just trade whatever the arrows tell me to do. Remember, that goes against our philosophy. These arrows are here for you to check your work. So you click on signal arrows, and you were right. There's a buy signal right there. So let's say you entered at the close that day, okay, because the signal was generated. You placed your stop, and you want to see where you're going to exit. So you want to use that quick in and out exiting technique that we share with you. You have roughly 6 more different techniques, but you decide to use this one. So you go up to the upper tabs here, our icons, and here's our indicator icon. Click that on, and you'll see the drop-down menu here. In indicators, click on Stochastic Oscillator, and it'll be formulated on the bottom and plotted for you. This is the pink line up here is the 80 threshold. The pink line down here is the 20 threshold. So since we're long, we want to see this blue oscillator line close above the 80 threshold. So we're, all set to go. We've bought the stock, or maybe we purchased the calls, maybe we have a spread lined up. We have our stop in place if we're long the stock, and we simply wait. I've often told my students, if you're trading correctly, it's like fishing. You just kind of cast your line out and you wait. So we're going to wait to see when this closes above 80. So we kind of look on a trade by trade basis, a daily basis. It's going in our direction. It's getting close. We really didn't close above it. We closed right on it here. So in 3 days, we're really getting close. And on the 4th day, look what happens. That's where you could have exited with a potential 54-point gain had you used this exit level. And then look what happened after that. Once you're out of the trade, not a bad little exit, right? That's how simple this process can be. And this just happened just like 3 weeks ago. Okay, so let's recap before we go into question and answer portion. Remember, strategy number 8 is our stock-only strategy. It's an indicator-based method. It's based off 2 indicators and their relationship to price. I've shared with you what the first indicator is. That's a 50-period moving average. Buy signals will only be generated above the 50. Sell signals will only be generated below. Now, because of the way this strategy is set up, because of its simplicity, it often shows the capability to catch those quick moves. So this is where you may want to use those quick exits, okay? Because of these quick moves, it's ideal for option timing. You just saw the majority of these examples right here lasted less than 2 weeks. So you think you could have made some quick money off of calls or puts? It works best in daily bars and higher time frames, as we just shared with you. And you can apply it to any direction, going long or going short. But please remember, learn the strategy first once you decide to become a course member. Paper trade first so that you fully understand all of the rules. Our edge here is consistency, meaning that we know there will be losses from time to time. That's perfectly admissible. A consistent method is one that's able to recoup those losses sooner than later, okay? Now, ask yourself, do you think this strategy can help your trading for the remainder of the year? Now remember, we only have roughly about 3 months left. Take your trading to the next level. Become a course member. If you want to become a course member and try to close out the year strong, we have a great special attendee discount for you today. We're going to offer you strategy number 8. This is our stock strategy course that you can't afford to overlook, okay? It's a great stock-only course, strategy number 8. This comes with instant course access, detailed video instruction. You're going to get all our entries, exits, and stops. You'll also get add-ons for platforms if you happen to trade TradeStation with TradeStation, Metastock, MT4, NinjaTrader, Sierra Charts. We will give you the up and down arrows that are generated when a signal has been validly processed, okay? You're going to get the complete strategy rules along with educational correspondence. But remember, we're going to throw in some bonus offers because we always said that the easiest way to apply any of our techniques or methods is by using our platform. So we're going to throw in 12 months of the PTS Primo charting platform absolutely free. So you don't have to download anything onto TradeStation or Metastock. You don't have to look for certain indicators if you want to use stochastics. It's all right here, one click away. We specifically designed it this way to make trading really simple. So you don't have to waste your time trying to find things. It's one click away and already pre-formatted for you. Here's what you're going to get. This is just a small tip of the iceberg of what you're going to get in the 12 months of the platform. Obviously, strategy number 8, you also get our buy-sell line feature. This is a way to tell you the overall trend direction. I talk about this a lot on Twitter. I'll show a lot of examples of a lot of our buy-sell line feature. You also get our top-bottom 25% tool. This is another pattern recognition tool that is great for determining the short-term trend. A signal scanner. Our strength of trend tool, which is great for determining if a trend is running out of gas or still has momentum left, and personalized tech support. But let me talk about something else here, our auto-generated exit levels. This is an entirely different exit feature that we have that is pre-formatted on our platform, where all you have to do is click on a button and you'll see the exit levels automatically shown for you and displayed. For example, as we look at this signal in AYI, this is an older example here, a buy signal was generated, and once you decided where you wanted to place your stop, look what happened here. The stock took off, but where were you going to exit? Let's say you didn't want to use that particular stochastic exit. Well, let me show you what we have here. How could you have gotten away with in this trade with a profit without taking, without staying in too long before you turned it into a loss? All you had to do is click on strategy number 8. In the drop-down menu, click on range extension exits. And this is pre-formatted. You'll see these different levels. Had you chosen level 3 to exit on the opening, you would have exited here with a 23-point gain prior to AYI falling out of bed and changing directions. This is all pre-formatted on the platform. You won't find this anywhere else. This is another one of our exit techniques that we teach you. We teach you all the rules, what these levels are based off of, but we also give you the one-click access to have them already pre-formatted and displayed on the platform. So anytime you get into a trade, you'll know exactly where these levels are and where you want to get out of the trade. This is also included, another great feature in addition on the PTS Primo charting platform. There are tons of other features and different educational tools on the platform. We just don't have time to go over them, but you're going to get access to them as well for 12 months. So this is a great, great offer, okay? So let's break this down. You're going to get strategy number 8 along with a full year of the platform, comes with educational correspondence as well. That is my personal email address where you can email. If you have any questions, you can email me and I'll get right back to you, okay? So let's break this down. How much will this normally cost? Well, the course will soon be $39.95, but we're going to discount that down, okay? The price we're going to be charging you today is only $29.95. That means you're going to save $1,000, okay? you're saving $1,000 off the course price. And on top of that, you're getting 1 year of the platform, which would also be thousands of dollars that we're completely waiving. And on top of that, we're going to give you the option to have a payment plan. So if you don't want to come up with a full lump sum of $29.95, you can still be up and running as early as today with a small deposit and establishing a payment plan with my sister site, ProTrader Strategies. They're in charge of all the discounts and all the technical support. And you can still be up and running for just a small portion of that $29.95 and then a small monthly payment, okay? So this is a great offer to get your trading back on track, okay? Remember, these are just some examples that just happened recently. On the 15th, Roku, ROKU, generated a buy signal using strategy number 8. Okay, this was just last week. And potentially you could have gained 27 points in just 5 days. All right, this took the snapshot at the close of yesterday. So this is something that is happening all the time. Do you think you could have had a nice trade here? Remember, you can use any one of our 7 different exit techniques, or you can use your own discretion and say, listen, after a 5 or 10 point game, I'm out. Okay, that's fine. It's up to you. We want you to be in charge of your trading destiny. So stock traders, you cannot afford to overlook this stock strategy. Take advantage of this great offer. Contact ProTrader Strategies. They're in charge, once again, of all the discounts, all the payment plans, and all the tech support. I would strongly suggest, if you're interested in this great offer, calling them personally at 310-598-6677. They have trained consultants manning the phones right now. These trading consultants will be happy to establish a payment plan, or at least tell you what would be required, so that you can think about it and get up and running as soon as you'd like. But remember, you can't sit on this for too long, because the price will most likely go up to $39.95 very quickly. So if you're interested in this, watch this video, which we send you today. But probably in the next 24 hours, this offer will be gone. So don't sit on this if you really want to take advantage of it. If you're a stock trader, if you like to trade options on stocks, or maybe spreads on stocks, or ETFs, or indices that you're interested in, this is a great offer. So take advantage of this. Contact ProTrader Strategies. And remember, there's absolutely no obligation. If you want to call them directly at 310-598-6677, there's no obligation. They would be happy to answer any question that you may have, okay? All right, I promised I would take questions at the end. If you want to ask me a question, go to your question and answer box. Oh, one thing I didn't mention, that link you see at the very bottom, if you copy and paste that link onto your browser, it will take you to the information page. But if you look on the chat box on the far right of the GoToWebinar column, there is a link that's been posted there. So you can click that on. That's a live link, and it will open up automatically a page for you, okay? All right, someone's asking, Steve, what do you mean by educational correspondence? Well, you know, since I don't have the option, we have students around the world in over 116 countries and in every state in the United States. And since I don't have the luxury of making a personal phone call to each and every one of you, or actually being there, sitting side by side so that you can understand and learn these strategies, you all get once you become a student of mine, you'll all get my personal email address, and you can contact me with questions whenever you'd like. In the middle of the night, because we know some students are on the opposite side of the globe, or you can email me over the weekend and I'll answer your questions. So that's the personal correspondence you get through me. So that's what we mean by that. You can contact me with questions whenever you'd like. And there's no limit on that as well. I see the next question is that for a limited time only? No. As long as you like. As long as you're a student of mine, I will answer the questions forever, okay? Someone is asking, what was the smallest time frame you would suggest? Well, remember, this is just a suggestion, but I would say for strategy number 8, I wouldn't go lower than an hourly time frame, because once you get lower than an hour, you start to get this noise, and because of the way the strategy is structured, you may get a lot of whipsaws, and you won't get the type of results you see with daily bars or even weekly or monthly bars. So it's just my suggestion. But remember, the way you find out how you really like to trade something is through paper trading it. And so that is a requirement at all of our strategies. You must first paper trade to see how it works for you, okay? So I guess there are no further questions. I guess everyone's calling up ProTrader Strategies right now for checking out. Remember, if you're really interested in taking your trading to the next level, you owe it to yourself at least to give ProTrader Strategies a call. There's absolutely no obligation. Call one of their trading consultants right now. They would be happy just to give you the information about setting up a payment plan. They would be happy to set it up for you, and just to make sure that it meets your needs, and you can be up and running, like I said, as early as today with the 1 year of the platform. Remember, that's another great bonus that we threw in there just to sweeten the deal so that you can make it simple while you're learning how to trade this, okay? So if you're truly interested, contact Pro Trader Strategies. And as we take one last look at our disclaimer right here, I just want to say thank you so much for attending and taking time out of your Wednesday. And I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the Strategy Number 8 course, along with 1 full year free of the PTS Primo charting platform. Thank you so much for attending. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.